Hey guys, this is John.
And I'm Dan.
And this is another episode of the Meatgistics podcast brought to you by Walton's. We've got Dan Stark with us today. We know Dan through Pass It On Outdoor Mentors. Does a lot of great work with them. And Dan has brought us a smorgasbord of wild game to try today.
Indeed. I brought some salmon that was swimming in the Kenai River about 10 days ago.
Yeah.
And then I brought a sample of some moose and a sample of some whitetail from Osage County, Kansas.
Awesome. This is going to be my first time trying moose. I'm super excited for this.
You know, it's interesting. We had a couple of guys that helped us with a moose hunt a couple of years ago, and to thank them, we harvested a couple of does and processed them and froze them and sent them up to them. And these guys are like, that's the best venison I've ever ate in my life. And I've been blessed to try a few different kinds of venison and moose over the past couple of years. And if you have a freezer full of whitetail deer, moose is the most amazing thing you ever had before in your life. If you got a freezer full of moose, per the Alaskans, that whitetail is amazing eating. I think it's all good. The good Lord gave us amazing things to make use of. If we can, do it properly and take good care of that animal in the processing pieces of it and cook it properly and preferably not overcook it, it's all great.
So wait, is this a moose you killed?
This is a moose I harvested.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where was it?
It was in about 4 miles from the Knik Glacier outside of Palmer, Alaska.
Okay. What's that pack out like?
It was interesting. I went with a hunting buddy, Josh, and it was just the two of us, and weather was not good, so we couldn't have anybody else fly in to help us to get that animal out. We harvested that animal at 4 o'clock on the 12th of September, and we field dressed it, and then we went back to camp, and we came back the next day, and we cut off a hind quarter and skinned it and put it in a meat bag, and we picked up that meat bag and said, and so we're supposed to put this in our backpack and walk a mile with it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Josh says, I'm not doing that either. So we cut down a tree and we made a pole and we lashed our meat to a pole and then we carried it out what I would call Indian style.
Sure.
We shared it. And the thing that was amazing is when we got back to town and we were talking with the Alaskans, like, oh yeah, we cut this pole and we carried our meat out. They're like, huh, that's a great idea.
They hadn't thought of it.
They hadn't done that.
It was probably that one of those lost knowledge things. Like the people back in the day used to do that. Absolutely. But someone said, oh, here's a backpack. It's easier on your back. Yeah. Someone's like, oh, we'll just do it that way from now on.
Yeah. Well, and I think sometimes not knowing a lot about how things are done, you come up with your own solution to it. And sometimes that is a creative solution, a better solution. It took us 4 days to carry that animal a mile. And
do you have an estimation on how much it weighed, like live weight?
Live weight is about 1,700 pounds. And so you're going to harvest about 750 pounds of meat off that animal. And a quarter is 100 to 125 pounds.
Was it a bull? Or?
It was a bull.
It was a bull?
He was 53 inches. He had 3 brow tines, which made him legal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. You're out there, with the rifle. My buddy Josh, it was my turn to take a moose. And Josh is looking through the binoculars and he's looking for 3 brow tines. And I'm looking at that moose going, is he legal? Is he legal? And when Josh said, yep, that's your moose, bang, I took that animal. I shot him with a .338 Win Mag with a 225 grain X bullet.
Yeah.
Hit him in the spine and dropped him like a rock.
Okay. That's
not common.
Yeah.
They take a lot of energy to come down. And but he went right down. And then I walked up to him and he was still with us. He was making the death rattle that I've never heard anything like it before in my life. It was just amazing, the sound that was there. And he, finally I shot him in the neck and it didn't slow him down.
That
it didn't phase him. And he passed. And then we gutted him and came back the next day. It took us 4 days. Like I said, we busted him down on day 2 and we stacked our meat and in game bags. And then we started carrying it out.
Okay.
And it took it to the airstrip because the weather, they couldn't fly. So we were out there on our own for 4 days and here we go.
Yeah, got to do something.
Got to, what else you going to do?
What's
and,
the temperature like outside there?
it was probably in the 50s in the morning, and it would
Okay.
get into the 60s, maybe 70s. Rained almost all the time, and in Alaska, it rains all the time. It's just kind of a mild drizzle.
Right.
It's not, a frog strangler, so to speak. So you just put your rain gear on and go. And, it's very common, like in the cities, in Anchorage and stuff, to see kids out playing in the rain in a playground.
Sure.
And it's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And, but that was, the fourth evening, we were laying in the tent, and I said, Josh, you know what? We did this. We did this on our own. The Army didn't come in and help us,
Right.
which did 2 years ago. And that's going to be an important piece of story that we're going to always cherish.
Wait, the Army came in and?
Well, 2 years ago, we harvested an animal in a river system. And my buddy Mark shot that animal, and he dropped it in 12 inches of water. And you're not moving these creatures when you shoot them. So he had to be broke down in the water.
Okay.
And we used sat phone, called into Anchorage. Hey guys, we got a moose down. And another couple guys in a boat showed up, and they helped us to carry it out. And another guy came in and brought a chainsaw so we could cut the ribs out.
Okay, wait. So the Hunter's Army.
The Hunters
For
Army.
whatever reason,
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, why was the military coming out
No.
to help you guys?
No,
Okay.
we had about 3 people that came out and helped us to carry
Okay.
that animal out.
Yeah. Well, hey, you never know that you can do something by yourself until you're forced to do it
Right.
with no help.
Right.
And then you figure out you can.
Yeah. Well, and it's I've been blessed to caribou hunt and moose hunt in Alaska, and we've all done it self-guided. And I've been fortunate that I have some friends in Alaska through our business that we had met some folks in Alaska that helped to teach me how to do these things.
Right.
And so we have the tent, we have the gear, we have the backpacks. And we go out, and you get in an airplane, and you get dropped off someplace, and they're going to come and see you in 7 to 10 days if the weather is good.
Going out by yourself, without a guide, any reservations about not a lack of success, but safety?
No.
No.
You're in bear country,
Right.
but when you go out at night to go do some business, you take your rifle with you.
Sure.
You take your rifle with you everywhere you go. And these bears, they're in most places in Alaska, they generally don't want anything to do with you.
Okay.
And
Because they know human is danger.
it can be,
Right.
if they've ever seen a human in their life.
You think you're running into ones out there that maybe have never seen one?
At times,
Okay.
most of them have at least had some experience with
Right.
humans or an airplane flying over. But Alaska, the Fish and Game is very hardcore about when you harvest an animal, you got to take that animal out. You can't move the trophy until all the meat is recovered.
Sure. Yep.
And the goal there is you don't want those bears to be taught that a rifle shot is
Hear a
a dinner
gunshot
bell.
come running.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what happened to Ranella and all those guys on
Yeah.
the Fogneck Island.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the Kodiak area, down in those areas, they know what a rifle shot
Yep.
is. You take a black-tailed deer on Kodiak, you better start moving that animal right away because the bears are going to be there.
I read something the other day. It was an article about increased shark predation on catches in the Gulf of Mexico. And they said that through a 3-week period study that they did, it was 65% of all catch that they had some sort of deformity from shark, whether that was the shark got all of it, a portion of it, or just like bit it as it went by.
I'll be there.
And
Yeah.
they said that the only place that's higher is, it's not Fogneck, but it's one of those islands off of Alaska, and it is, you're losing your kill to a bear. Like
Right.
almost certainly you're gonna, or you're at least gonna have an interaction with the bear
Right.
during that hunt.
Yeah.
I am petrified of things that want to eat me
Yes.
or are willing to eat me. So I know that a moose is extremely dangerous, right? Like,
Yes, they are.
they're enormous and they can be aggressive.
They're actually more dangerous than the brown bear.
Yes, like logically, I know that. I also know that bees are more dangerous than a great white shark. Like, I'm more likely to die from bees than, but I don't care. It's the fact that that thing could eat me that just, it lives in the back of my head. So while I would love to go to Alaska, and I absolutely will at some point, I worry that it's going to be play so much on my mind, almost like robbing me of some of the experience.
You know, you just have to be smart around bears. If you're going to be in Alaska, and
Dan,
especially
I'm
in
not
the
known
bush,
for being smart.
well,
Like, I feel like you and I have had enough interactions now. I'm just kidding.
You know, I've had this conversation with a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you can camp in the mountains and do it safely, you can camp in Alaska. You keep a clean camp. You keep clean, you know, as clean as you can yourself, but you know, there's no showers, none of that.
Right.
But we use electric fences periodically, battery operated electric fences that when we've been in bear areas, 3 years ago, we hunted moose around King Salmon, an hour outside of King Salmon. We had 22 bear sightings in 10 days, as close as 25 feet.
Oh, no. No.
But you know, what do you do when a bear comes on you? If you're with somebody else, you stand close to each other, you put your hands in the air, you make yourself look big, you go, bad bear. Not, you know, you don't do the girly, oh, bad bear. No.
Yeah.
You try to make
loud.
yourself, you know, and chances are that animal, provided you're not between a sow and its cubs, or you're not in around a food source,
right,
that they probably don't want anything to do with you, but you have I carry a 338 Win Mag because of brown bears and moose. And, you know, my dad shot all game in Alaska with a 30-06 back in the 60s and 70s. But 338 has got a lot of energy to it, and it works. But it's really about being safe and you know, and paying attention to your surroundings.
Do you bring a bear gun other than your rifle? Or no, just
hunting, no, because it's all about weight. You've got 50 pounds,
fair.
50 pounds of gear that you can take in a cub, in a super cub. I have a 44 Magnum with a 2.5-inch barrel.
Okay.
I do carry it periodically fishing. Yeah. If I'm in areas where there may be bear situations. I've been blessed to be going to Alaska for nearly 20 years, and I have had numerous bear experiences. I've unholstered a pistol a few times. I've never fired a shot.
Okay. Like getting too close in the river. Is that
yes?
Yeah.
And like on the Russian River, which is a famous salmon fishing area off the Kenai, I've been pushed off gravel bars. A bear starts coming and they want to be on that gravel bar. You get off the gravel bar.
Yeah.
And pretty simple.
I mean, because there you are competing for a food source with them.
Yes.
Like that's what, right? Like I think most people know this at this point, but for anyone who doesn't, a grizzly bear and a brown bear are the same bear. Just think of it basically like grizzly is landlocked. Brown bear has access to salmon runs, to coastlines, so they have a wider array of food items available. So that what is potentially can make a grizzly bear more dangerous is they got to eat. Like if they see something, they're more interested in eating it. Where a lot of brown bears will walk right by people because they're just going to the river to get the salmon. That's what they want.
Yeah.
They're comfortable in their food source.
We used to fish on the upper Kenai. We now fish down near Soldotna and Kenai because the quality of fish is so much higher.
Yeah.
But at the Russian River campground, the federal campground, we do this in RVs. We camp in the RV, and they used to have a trail that would go down to the river. And before you walk down the hill to go down into the Russian River, they had a 4x8 sheet of plywood with a sign on it that they painted. And they showed a brown bear and a black bear and their scat and their footprints and what the differences were in bears. And they said, if you get attacked by a grizzly bear, you want to try to act dead and lay down and protect your head and neck and hope that they will leave you alone.
Right.
If a black bear comes after you, he's going to eat you.
Okay, explain that to me, because I've heard this more and more recently. If it's black, fight back, brown, lay down, white, say goodnight. Right?
Yeah.
But my interactions with black bears have always been that they're cowards. Like I've seen a golden retriever, golden retriever tree multiple black bears.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's about the socialization that bear's had. How much has it been around people? If you're
this would have been in New Jersey, so a lot.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I have more concerns about a bear in the lower 48 than I do in Alaska, because they're more used to people. In Alaska,
So you
they're
think
not.
the more they're used to people, the bigger danger they are?
And more unpredictable they can become.
Huh.
I think,
Okay.
but that has been my experience, in Alaska. It's kind of funny in Alaska, they talk about if you're a tourist up there, you should carry bear spray and bells on your backpack.
Right.
And carry it around. There's I saw a funny couple of signs that talked about, you need that, and how to tell the difference between black bear scat and brown bear scat.
Uh-huh.
And the black bear scat just looks fresh and nice and everything. The brown bear scat smells like pepper and has bells in it.
Yeah. All right. I apologize. You were talking about a sign that had. Were you done? Do we get back to cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I just want to make sure.
And the conversation there was really, the black bear is going to eat you.
Let's get into the moose that you harvested first. I'll cut up a piece of that. Oh, that looks gorgeous. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, John, you'll have nothing to compare this to, right?
What do you mean?
You've never had moose before.
I've never had moose before. This is my first bite of moose. That's really good.
It is, and it was cooked very simply. I put a little marinade on it while it was in a Ziploc while I got the pellet grill going.
Okay.
And I put some rub on it, and I cooked it to about rare, and I put it on a cutting board and covered it up for about 5-10 minutes, and then sliced it.
That is a delicious flavor. It's nice and tender. Is this the backstrap that we're eating?
That's a hind quarter.
That's a hind quarter?
That's a hind quarter.
All in, what is the cost of going to Alaska to try and hunt a moose?
I'm blessed that I have friends in Alaska that we share hunts.
Okay.
They come down and go whitetail hunting on us, and we go up there and they help us put together moose hunts. One of the guys has a super cub, and he flew us out.
Okay.
So we did that trip, 2 of us, for $2,500 plus airfare and tags.
Yeah.
Now, to do that with a commercial air provider, they're going to charge you $1,500 to $2,000 a head just to fly you out. And then if you harvest an animal, there's going to be more airfare
To bring it back.
to bring the animal back.
Yep.
So, and by the time you get gear, tents, backpacks, things of that nature, you can have a few $1,000s into that. When we used a commercial air provider, we were spending about $5,000 to do a moose hunt. And again, we're doing it self-guided. $5,000 to $7,000 is what we were spending.
Now, if you go with an outfitter, do they offer packages that, do they offer packages that might give you a discount on airfare, things like that? Or
No.
So it's always get
No.
to them and then it starts.
Yeah.
So it's potentially very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
A guided,
I see why people do it.
oh yeah, it's an amazing experience to do it. I invite people that if you have a goal in your life to go moose hunting, caribou hunting, bear hunting, you need to go. Do not wait until, when I retire, I'm going to go moose hunting. First of all, are you going to make it?
Yeah, that's always a question.
And are you going to be physically able to do it?
Right.
You're probably going to be more likely to afford it. Using a guide, you're talking probably $20,000 to do a moose hunt. So
That's insane.
it is, but I started caribou hunting up there in 2007.
Okay.
And I went to the North Slope twice, once in 2011 and 2015.
I'm going to keep eating this, by the way.
What's that?
I'm going to keep eating this.
You can go right ahead. Well, that's the moose you're eating there. But when we went in, I think it was 2011, flying back, we read the Alaska Airlines magazine, and they had an article in there about 19 different reality TV shows were going into production that season
In Alaska.
in Alaska. We met Sue at Kavik River before the TV show. And amazingly enough, that is who she is. They haven't Hollywooded her up a whole bunch.
Okay.
That really is Sue.
Yeah.
But you can't hire a pilot now to get out there because they're booked up for 1 to 2 years out. I think the
Yeah.
TV shows have done that.
Definitely possible. There also is, though, just like, I think in general society, more of a interest in reconnecting with some wild places. And I think it happened during COVID.
I agree.
Yep. I think people left cities for the first time
Mm-hmm.
and realized like, oh, wow, it's gorgeous up here. Now, I know there are certain places that absolutely hate that. The first time we ever went to Missoula, Montana, we went up there for a backcountry hunter and anglers convention. And the guy who picked us up in his Uber saw us and just like was very gruff with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to be friendly and talk to him, and finally I was like, yeah, we're in town for backcountry hunters and anglers. And he's like, oh. He's like, so you're not here house hunting? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, okay. And his demeanor completely changed. Like, he was angry because he thought I was like trying to move to his town.
Right.
And I get it, because they've driven the prices in little towns like Bozeman, Missoula into, it's ridiculous.
There it is.
It really is insane up there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've also got a whitetail here.
We got whitetail. This is also from the hindquarter.
Okay.
It's cooked a little differently. I smoked it to about 120 degrees, and then I brought it in and I seared it in some bacon grease in a skillet.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's hard to beat bacon grease.
Well, you know.
Oh, all right. Here. No, you can get your own. Yeah. And that is delicious as well.
So which is better?
The moose.
Is it because it tasted better, or is it because it was different?
Because it's different.
No.
Yeah. I have a huge recency bias and a huge like exotic bias. So if it's something that I've just done, it's the best. If it's something that I've never done before and finally get to do, then that's the best. So that's part of it. But that is also a phenomenal tasting meat. Have you ever had, I'm sure people on the podcast or listening to the podcast are going to roll their eyes at this. Have you ever had mountain lion?
I haven't.
It's excellent.
I had a sample of bobcat last year.
How was that? I've heard that's good too.
It was good.
I find that one somehow, for some reason, harder to believe than mountain lion being good.
Well, they're related.
Yeah. But
The thing that was surprising to me was how white the meat was.
really,
Yeah, of the bobcat.
when you're saying like
It looked like pork.
white,
It looked like
yes,
pork.
yes.
Didn't look like beef.
No, but I wouldn't. Well, I guess I wouldn't assume that it would have, mostly because I'd already had mountain lion. Yeah, it looked like pork. It tasted a lot like pork, just a little bit sweeter and way more tender. Like, I don't know why mountain lion's more tender than pork. I mean, when I think of a mountain lion, I think of a large muscular predator.
Oh yeah.
And you would think that would make those muscles tough. But the best we could come up with in our idiot brains was a mountain lion's either going around full speed or it's a cat. So it's laying around doing nothing. So that
or
maybe
slinking
keeps
about.
keeps it nice and tender.
Yeah.
I got made fun of here a couple of weeks ago because I thought I saw a mountain lion just up the street from here when you said slinking. I saw something, the only word for it is slink over a fence. And it was the right color. It was the right size. The only thing that makes me think that maybe I didn't, maybe it was something else, was I didn't see a tail. But it looked like it was like that liquid motion that they do. So, but no, both of these are absolutely delicious.
Well, and I think the success of any game, whitetail being a great example, is how well it is harvested in the field, how well it is dressed expediently in the field, cooled. I age my whitetail for 14 days.
Okay.
And then trim the fat off. The thing about a moose, there ain't much fat, even less fat than a whitetail. So
there's less fat on a moose than there is on a whitetail deer, which already
is
not
lean.
Very fatty.
Right. Yeah. And the
I
other
would have
thing
thought it's the
is
exact-
it's a huge piece of meat.
Right.
I mean, it's just huge.
I would have thought it was the exact opposite. I would have assumed that moose would have more fat on it.
They live a pretty tough life. Their main diet is willow leaves.
Yeah, not a lot of.
And where are they in the
opportunities to
wintertime?
pack on weight. Yeah.
Right. They don't
That's a
have
good
corn
point.
and beans.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a fair point. I guess I never considered. I guess it's just the size that they're so big that I figured some of that's got to be fat. Very
Not
little
too
of
much,
it, huh?
very little. Leaner than a whitetail.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there are some fat, but it's like a nice doe in our country. It'll be an inch of fat on top of the hips.
Right.
Not so much on a moose.
Not even an inch.
Not even an inch.
Wow.
And that's a much bigger animal.
Is that 1,700 pounder that you shot? Is that your biggest moose?
That's my moose. That's the only moose I've taken.
That's your moose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I talked about self-guided hunts.
Yeah.
I've got 5 years into that moose.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was a nice close to a fairly lengthy chapter in your hunting.
Well, there's 3 of us that have been doing this.
Okay.
The moose hunt, and we've been doing it for 5 years. 2 years ago, Mark took a moose. It was his turn. Last year was my turn. This year, we're going up in September, and it's Josh's turn. And we're hoping to get Josh a moose.
I mean, 3 for 3 would be pretty good.
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing.
Different areas, like same area?
Well, we'll either go to the same area or to another area across the bay from the Kenai.
Okay.
Our buddy Lee, who has the plane, he's scouting. And he's looking for areas where there are some potential animals.
Yeah.
And that'll kind of determine where we go.
Right.
And, I'm blessed. I have a friend who has an airplane.
Right.
And, his career, he worked for Fish and Game.
Right.
So he's a great guy, awesome guy. And his friend Paul, we've hunted together. The 4 of us have hunted a few times. And, he loves to fly. So we're an excuse for him to go fly.
That's phenomenal.
He's on.
That's a good friend to have.
Oh, it's a great friend to have. Yeah.
So do you guys not use Onyx when you're up there?
We do.
You do. Okay.
We do use Onyx. Yeah.
But
we
there's
use
just
no
substitute to being up in the plane, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. For scouting.
Yeah. Well, and in Alaska, it's fair chase. You cannot hunt an animal the day you fly.
Yeah. Yep.
So
which makes sense to me.
Yeah. So we flew around in this Knik Valley until we saw a moose. He'd seen a moose out there. We saw him. We thought he was legal. Can't tell until you get close.
Right.
We thought he was legal. We marked a spot as close as we could on Onyx. And then we started sneaking around looking for him. And it took us 2 days to find him. And
really?
Mm-hmm. This cover is unbelievable.
Insane?
It's amazing.
Like just thick and tall, or just thick?
At times, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we end up getting into the willows, and every year we get stuck somewhere and it's a quagmire.
Yeah.
I mean, they grow. It's not the willows. I can't think of the name right now, but another tree that grows up there only gets about 6-8 feet tall, but it's sprawled around. And it's wiry and doesn't go straight up in the air, and it just, you're fighting your way through it, and and the moose and the bears, they just walk right through it. No big deal.
Don't care at all.
So that's when you kind of get your senses kind of keyed up a little bit.
Where you are. You brought up. Well, all right. I want to come back to that, but let's try some of the delicious salmon that you've brought as well. Talk about first where you got these.
These were caught in the Kenai River.
Okay.
Out of Soldotna. In the Soldotna area. Literally, they were swimming in the river, 10 days ago.
That's awesome.
And I've been doing that trip for approaching 20 years. I go up there, I rent an RV, get a couple of guys come and join me, and we have some friends. We camp in their driveways, and then we go to the river and we catch salmon. They are an amazing fish to catch. My preferred weapon, it's not fishing, it's weapon, is an 8-weight fly rod.
Okay.
And we use 30-pound P line for leader. And these fish can snap that 30-pound leader like it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, they're
amazing.
all muscle.
They're all muscle.
Yeah.
And they're in the current. And these fish, they're plankton eaters. They're going up the river, at the bottom of the river, just doing this. And we're throwing a 1/2 ounce to 2 ounce, depending on current and rocks, weight. And about 4 to 6 feet away, we've got a hook. It's a fly. It's either got a bead or some yarn. And what you're trying to do is put the sinker on one side of the mouth and the hook on the other, and you hook them in the mouth.
Yep.
They have to be caught in the mouth to keep them.
Right.
If they're hooked anywhere else, you got to put them back.
Yep.
So we're snagging or flossing those fish. And it sounds like, oh, geez, there's no sport to that. No, there's sport to that.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a finesse to it. I mean, this year, my buddy Josh got him to go fishing with me finally. And had a day Josh was on and he was hooking fish and I couldn't catch a fish in my life, needed it. And the next day I was catching fish and he wasn't.
It happens. We talked about this every year. I get to go to Lake of the Woods. And there was one day, 2 years or last year that like everything I did worked. It didn't matter what, I was in the same boat or using the same stuff as everyone else in the boat. Same technique. Ben Bredigan, who's now a big wig at Onyx, is about to have his own hunting show actually, like told me, he's like, I was watching everything you did. I was doing it exactly as you did it. And he's like, we were right next to each other and I was just catching them.
Right.
It just every once in a while you hit that flow state where like you just know what the fish is about to do.
Well,
it is an amazing feeling. Didn't get that this year. Still great fishing. I think I caught like 50 something walleyes one day, which is insane. But it wasn't that, 80 or 100 I caught that one day. So it's a different feeling.
Right.
Okay, let's try some.
Yeah.
Because I can't wait
so
much longer.
The secret of salmon is to not overcook it.
Right.
And as you can see with this fish, the fat just started curdling out of the thickest part of the fillet.
Yep.
That means it's done. I suggested, and the Alaskans taught me how to do this. What do you think, John?
That's really good. Oh.
But the Alaskans, again, have taught me so much, and they've spoiled me rotten. I will not buy a piece of salmon. I don't care where it is, what restaurant, any place. You can't buy this. And these are sockeye salmon, and they're called reds. And they're just a blast to catch, and boy, are they good to eat. So
this is some of the best tasting fish. I
may ruin you on getting salmon at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah. And when we go up to the fatter parts, or thicker parts, it's even better.
Yeah. But my 90 to 95% of the times I cook salmon, it's the same way. I cook it on a grill, wood or pellet, and then you put skin down on the grill.
Yeah.
And your goal is you want the skin to stick to the grill. And you cook it until the fat starts to curdle in the thickest part, and then you take a metal spatula, and your goal is you want to put the spatula between the skin and the flesh,
right,
and pull the flesh right off, and hopefully leave the skin on the grill. That's sometimes easy to do, sometimes not, but that is 95% of the fish that the salmon I cook. That's how I do it. And I don't suggest that you need to do a whole lot to it. It doesn't need a whole lot of spice. It doesn't need a lot of marinade. It needs just not to be overcooked. You don't flip it. You just take it off the skin, and here you go. So
I was able to get 2.5 of these, no problem, skin off. 1/2 gave me a little bit of issue, but that is. Sorry. Eating too fast. That was our salmon seasoning. Perfect. Like you said, not too much. There's no reason to overdo it. Just a light sprinkle. I'm going to try some of the Eat barbecue stuff. And less seasoning flavor on this one. More just of the salmon flavor. And this was also maybe the piece that was a little bit frozen when we put it on.
Right.
But look how beautiful that is. I mean,
well, I'll take these fillets and I'll thaw a fillet to have dinner, and I'll cut some of the thicker part of that fish and cut it into sashimi.
Yeah.
And put it back in the freezer to get it a little more firmed up, and you eat it as an appetizer.
If you know where the animals come, like I have no problem with that. I know that's not everybody in this building would agree with that, but I've eaten raw steak before. I ate some raw ground beef. It was a steak that I knew everything about, and I ground it myself. And then just regular, was it strip steaks or ribeyes? One of the two. I got on a kick of eating just raw that for a while, and it's delicious. It tastes really good. Now, I do also like it with seasoning and butter and a nice crust
and cooked to a
on
nice
it.
medium rare.
Yeah, but it's something interesting to try. So, all right, now we've got two other. This one was chipotle lime with a little bit of a glaze. So very different.
I've never seen someone chew fish as much as you.
What do you mean?
Let it go down. Just swallow that.
Well, I'm taking too big of pieces, probably. That I taste the seasoning more.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think this one
That's
is
your
probably
favorite?
my favorite.
Yeah. Well,
This one.
one of the things I really enjoy doing with leftover salmon
Yeah.
is I mix it with cream cheese
You brought some.
and
Yeah.
whatever spice you want to put on it.
Okay.
And you just mix it together so it's just a nice dip. And it turns this lovely pink color and put it on a cracker.
I mean, I don't know how much salmon there's going to be left over.
Well, I
Patrick,
think
would you like to try a piece of
you
this
may
or no?
need some help eating all this. There might be a couple people around here that might be interested in a
There
bite.
will be.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that everybody gets, or not everybody, but interested parties get at least a taste at it. All right. So going up to Alaska, how'd you get there?
Alaska Airlines. They are the best. Their customer service is amazing.
Really?
Amazing. May not be the cheapest flight up there, but
Okay.
they're amazing. I have the credit card, so I get 2 bags and a few other perks. But their customer service is phenomenal. We came out of a moose hunt once, and we got to the airport, and we thought our flight was at 9 o'clock at night. And we walked up the ticket counter, and the gal looked at us and was like, your flight left at 2. Oh, what do we do now? She's like, give me a minute. Click, 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 click. All right, you're getting on the 9 o'clock flight. How much is that going to cost? Nothing.
Oh,
And I've had so many customer service experiences with them that is just phenomenal. Never had a poor experience with them.
okay.
We also have, I have an Alaska Airlines air cargo account, and that's how I ship game to and from Alaska. So with the Alaska Airlines account, once you have over 100 pounds of product that you're shipping, it's basically $1 a pound.
Okay.
To ship it home.
Yep.
And it goes under the airplane, and so it's frozen. And in Anchorage and Seattle and other major hubs, they have a freezer they can drive a forklift in.
Oh,
So
really?
you take your fish frozen in fish boxes, they go weigh it, and then it goes into a freezer, and then they schedule it on flights to come in. And in the case, in the case of me, it comes into the cargo center at KCI. There they don't have a freezer, so we pick it up as soon as we can, and then take it home. And it's one of the guys this year, he measured the temperature. It was 34 and 38 degrees in the fish boxes. The fish was. So we just immediately put it right back in the freezer.
Yeah.
And that's what we're eating.
The fact that that's 10 days old is absolutely amazing. I've got I've got a friend, I say that Travis Frank, he hosts the Flush TV
Okay.
show. Absolutely phenomenal guy, who refuses to freeze any fish. He's like, if I'm not going to eat it, I just put it back. Because
Okay.
his honest opinion is that I think he's crazy.
I think if you do it well,
Okay.
there's no doubt it's going to decline in quality a little bit, and the longer in the freezer, that got our conversation going on. This was the challenges that we're having vac-packing our fish
Right.
to get it as well as we can. This fish is so high in fat that it's hard to get a good seal, and it's a battle.
Yeah.
Even with the best materials and chamber vacs and things, we still have bags that fail. So when you get home and you see those bags that are failing, guess which ones you eat first?
Yep. Absolutely.
And
But I've eaten frozen crappie from 3 years ago. This was last year, maybe the year before. I lost my deep freeze.
Yeah,
It was almost like losing a family member.
I understand.
I was
Been
very,
there,
very
done
crushed.
that. Yeah.
I went through all the stages really fast of grief.
Yeah.
And I still loved it. I thought it was absolutely delicious. Now I deep fried it, so maybe that hides some of the loss of quality. But
Well, it's interesting you talk about that because I mean, my venison and moose, I wrap in plastic wrap,
Okay.
and I use a pretty large amount of plastic wrap, and then I put it in freezer paper, and then I print a label on the computer that has little check boxes for what cut it is, and I keep track of what animal that was that I harvested.
Yep.
And I use that label to seal that paper down and put it in the freezer. I have no concerns about eating a piece of that meat that's 2-3 years old.
So you're still going, instead of your subprimals, all that, you're actually going old school and using freezer paper and the plastic. Okay.
And the plastic wrap.
Yeah. So in the meat processing world, the reason that cryo-vacking, vac-packing, all of that has taken over so much is because the amount of time it takes to teach an employee how to properly do what you're doing is ridiculous.
I agree.
Meanwhile, you can throw them in front of a vac machine and 30 minutes later, they're going to be just as good as anybody else. But people who do know how to package meat like you're talking about, you can get the same basic outcomes as you do from a vacuum sealer. It's just way harder. You have to know how to do it.
You have to,
So you've
to
obviously-
wrap it nice and tight. You know,
Yeah.
One of the things I've done with the Outdoor Mentors program is I've done processing clinics.
Yeah.
I've taught young men and young ladies how to take a deer from the shot all the way to the freezer, and the wrapping is definitely a piece, as you said, showing a young person how to be able to wrap it and get it tight enough. They just sometimes some get it, some don't.
Well, part of it's a patience thing.
Yes.
And kids, I mean, I don't have great patience, but kids often have no patience for that type of stuff. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but that's how you and I first started talking. Yeah. You came up to me and told me what you were doing. And so we kind of,
well, and you guys have been
from
phenomenal supports in these programs that we've done. I've done several processing clinics, and I've done some jerky and sausage making clinics. And it's John, it's humbling to pass that information on to young people. And then
I totally get that.
You know, I've been doing the Outdoor Mentor thing for about 3 or 4 years. I have kids now that are coming back, and you know, they're telling me about that they're shooting squirrels in their backyard and that they're eating them.
Hopefully that's legal. Hopefully they're not in city
maybe
limits.
So maybe not.
But that is excellent.
But you know, this one young man that I've taken out numerous times, we went out squirrel hunting on my property. We shot a couple of squirrels, and he had his squirrel, and we got back to the house, and it's like, okay, do you want some help dressing that squirrel? It's like, nope.
He got it.
I've been doing it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like, all right, that's great. You know, and I do the same thing with, you know, anytime we have a bird hunt or anything, you know, I always say there's a lot of ways to process this animal. Here's how I do it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're talking about freezing game. My birds and my fish, not salmon, but my fish, crappies and such, I put it in a Ziploc, I fill it with water, I bleed all the air out of it, and much water as I can out of it, and then I wrap it in a freezer paper, and I put a label on it or write on it with a Sharpie and put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
And that fish, like you experienced, that's been frozen in water, which all comes from old school from my brother who used milk cartons.
Yep.
And, you know, that I just took a spin on it. If you just put a Ziploc with water and stuff in the freezer, and it becomes this piece of modern art, it's hard to stack, but wrapping it in freezer paper to me is just what really makes it all come together.
Yeah.
You know,
it's part of your process.
it is.
I totally understand that.
And, you know, I've had a lot of people say, well, why don't you vacuum pack your venison? Because I don't want to take the time or the materials to do it. And I've had success with the way I'm doing it with plastic wrap and freezer paper.
Yep. When we started doing more how-to videos, it was really important to me, at least in the beginning, and I hope people still understand this because I used to say it all the time. If you're happy with how you're doing things and I'm doing it a different way, don't just change the way that I'm doing it because I said to. Like, only do this if you don't like your current process.
Right.
Like, don't change if you're comfortable with something and you like the outcome of it. There's multiple ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
So
and there's always learning to be done too.
There is. I've changed the way I do things based off of new information. I've changed the way I view certain products based on new information. But like that is always in the back of my mind where I'm like, should somebody change to this just because, technically it's a better way to do it? I don't know if they should or not. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Are you happy with the results that you're getting?
Yeah. And if you're just keep doing that.
Keep doing it.
So
yeah.
we recently found out that somebody who we think should know better and has been doing partly what we do for a long time. When they're making sausage, they only grind it one time.
Sure.
Like single pass through 3/8 plate. And we're telling them something like, this is so much better because it does both grinds in one.
Mm-hmm.
And I got he was looking at me weird,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't figure out why. And after he's like, yeah, I only grind my sausage once.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not right. But I've had his sausage and it's delicious.
Well, maybe he likes the texture better.
Yeah, it could be that. Could be that. But he had just never heard of a second grind.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like, I make some sausage, snack sticks, and summer sausage and things. And praise the Lord, I'm a throat cancer survivor.
Oh, okay.
But I have to have moisture in my food.
Yeah.
So I put about 30% fat in my sausage.
Right.
And I took some samples up to a neighbor, farmer, rancher neighbor, and gave him some. And he's like, oh, this is horrible. It's so fatty.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's the way I happen to like it.
Sure.
And I need the moisture.
Yeah.
Fat's what makes things good.
Fat's flavor.
Yeah. And, but it is, it's your personal choice in how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you find a way that you like it and it's working for you. Why do you need to change?
You don't.
He uses a spice mix that he buys at the Tractor Supply store, and he thinks it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And why would you do anything else?
Yeah. Hey, sometimes it's just what you're used to, and that's it.
Yeah.
It is nice when occasionally someone through Meatgistics or our customer service department will call in with hey, I used your guys' seasoning mix and my product was incredibly dry. What went wrong? Mm-hmm. And you can just get through their process real quick and be like, oh, right there.
Yeah.
Like that's what you did.
Yeah.
So that's a very rewarding part of what we do, is being able to be like, hey, next time do this. You're going to be much happier with the results.
And these podcasts that you do and the demonstration videos that you all do, it's great. It's serving the community and it's teaching people how to have more success.
That's all Austin, when he wanted to start all of this, he said our best advertising tool is going to be education.
Yes.
And that was a genius move on his part, because I think it's done a few things for us. One of them is it allowed us to come to our potential customers almost not as advertisers, right? Even though that is what we're doing. Like when I'm teaching you how to do something, I'm using all Walton stuff.
Sure.
But it allows it to be a softer sell, and it's a nice way to do it.
Well, it's exactly how my wife and I grew the business that we ran for 19 years. It was education.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to sell things. I was in the video technology. That was my specialty, but we did audio, video, lighting, and acoustics. And I did a lot of educational classes at different trade shows. And I did an educational class with Belt and Wire. They make some of the 95% of low voltage wiring.
Okay.
And I did a class where I taught tech directors from churches how to put connectors on wire and how to select wire. And I had one of the spokespeople from Belden come and did this class with me. And when we got done with it, he's like, what are you doing? Why are you teaching these people that they don't need you?
Right, yeah.
And I said, I'm teaching these people because I want them to understand, if I'm not the vendor that's working for them, that they know that the vendor that they're using is doing a good job and that they can do some rudimentary things on their own.
Yeah.
And that is ultimately, how we would win customers over the course of time, is they remembered that class.
Yep.
And they hired us to do some work for them. And it is education. I'd rather have an educated client than a non-educated one.
Yes. Now it gets to a certain point when they want to start arguing with you, where it's like, at some point you have to put down the expert card. I know what I'm doing here, and that can happen. But yes, no. In general, I very much agree with you, because at least they're going to understand the terminology and why you're telling them to do something,
right?
Instead of them just, do you remember the exercise? Used to make us do it as kids. where I would explain to you what I wanted you to draw, and I had to verbally tell you, and there's a little bit of, if you're dealing with an exact beginner, you might get way off because they misunderstood a simple thing.
Yeah. But it's especially rewarding especially in this mentoring program, to be able to see these kids have great experiences. Yeah. Last year, each year I kind of have some special times. And last year I had a young man who came with his grandfather because his parents were troubled and they lost guardianship of him. So he'd been living with their grandparents for a year. And I could feel, I have a cabin on our property, so I invite the young people to come the night before, and we'll serve them usually a game meal.
Sure.
And we, here's what you could do if you harvest an animal. And then I will have an interesting conversation with them is, do you make breakfast for your mom on Saturdays? And inevitably the answer is no.
Right.
And I look at them, I says, well, why not? Your mom cooks for you all the time, doesn't she? Yes, she does. And I'm like, well, young man, you're going to be at the door tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to make breakfast together. And I did that with this young man, and the grandfather is like, yo, and we went out, and this young man harvested a doe. And I took the picture of those two with this animal that they harvested. And I know that is an experience that has strengthened their relationship, and it's going to be something they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. I got to help make that happen.
Absolutely. And it's not just that it's going to bring two people closer together, which is an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I don't think people get fully about hunting is the self-confidence boost that anybody can get. The first time I harvested a deer, I did it almost solely on my own. I did all the butchering on my own. I went to somebody else's property, but I was out there in the stand by myself, had nobody around me, gutted it my own, all of that, or field dressed it my own. I was 40. I think I was 40 at that time. I got a self-confidence boost from it because I was like, oh, I can handle this.
Yeah.
I think people miss out on that. And I would like more people to be able to do it, because there's a satisfying feeling about being able to go get your own food. So
yeah, the satisfaction when you bring a piece of meat out of the freezer and you thaw it out and you cook it, and it's like, I know what happened to that.
Yep.
I know exactly what happened to that. I had a similar story with how I got into deer hunting. I didn't get into deer hunting until I was in my probably early 30s.
Okay.
And older brother in Wisconsin, I went up to visit him, and my family owns a sporting goods store. They all hunted their entire lives. And I go up and it's like, Dick, I was thinking about going deer hunting. Oh, I think that's a great idea. Because he knew what rifle I had and everything. He's like, okay, cool. So I'm like drilling him for information. And at one point, it's like, well, now what do I do when I get one? That's a big critter.
Yeah.
And he chuckled and he said, you can dress a squirrel, can't you? And I said, yeah. He said, it's just a big squirrel.
Yeah.
He says, you dress it the same way, pretty much. He says, and if you can stick a fork in a piece of meat, you cut it off and you eat it. And that's my training on how to butcher a deer. Now I've advanced a little over the years. Now I skin them with a golf ball and a tractor.
That does work.
Yeah, it works great. And I can have a deer from shot to gutted and skinned in 27 minutes.
That's
by myself.
That is pretty impressive.
And I, through the course of doing this over the course of years, I actually skin my animals before I gut them, and I feel I get less hair on the carcass that way.
Okay, why?
Because you're not cutting the I don't open the
center, right?
The center.
Yeah.
My MO, I hang that deer. I have a rack behind a cabin with winches. Again, tweaking on this over the years. I bring them in the carryall on the tractor, drive them up, put them on the winch, raise them up, and I do it from the back legs.
Yeah.
I cut around the knees.
Yep.
And I pull that hide down to about the crotch, and then I put a golf ball in each piece, and then a rope around it.
Yep.
And then I attach that to the front end loader of the tractor, and I skin them like a rabbit.
Okay.
and that takes, especially warm, no time.
Yeah, and then you come back.
And then I come back and I got them.
Okay.
And
so you obviously have to get one on your property.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be a special. I'm sure you do it all the time, but like under certain circumstances.
But you can do that in a tree.
Yeah, that's true.
I've done it in a tree for years. But my goal is I want that animal skinned, gutted, and cooling in under 3 hours.
Yeah. When you were talking about earlier, part of it being harvesting is why people are, don't like wild game, or they call it gamey. We still do. I think it's better now than it used to be, but there are still people who will drive their deer around to let 10 buddies look at it before they get it chilled. And that's not a good practice.
It's not how you get good eating.
It's not.
But
some of the people, like a couple of years ago, I talked to a guy. I was at a presentation for wild turkey. And he was saying that they're having a huge problem down in Georgia. And he went into all these other things. And I talked to him after because I had some more questions. And his response was, I don't think we have a huge influx of hunters like everybody thinks we do. He's like, I think we have a huge influx of killers. I think we've just got a bunch of people who now want to kill something. And I was like, ugh. And one of the reasons you hear a lot of people who do upland hunting or waterfowl hunting and don't do deer is because they don't know what to do with the carcass.
Right.
And to me, and I know that I'm not making a general statement here at all, because I know a ridiculous number of upland and waterfowl hunters who are excellent stewards of the land, great at, preserving the environment, things like that. But I think sometimes some of these people just want to go kill something. And the thought of killing a deer and then having to do something with the carcass is more work than they want to put into it. So
yeah, and I think if you're in the sport and you're doing it well and you're doing it legally, that's a win. But it's such a phenomenal resource to put on the table, and a lot of, I don't know what the percentage is, but I think a large percentage of the folks that deer hunt, they want a trophy. They want a big, huge honking rack.
Yeah.
I want to eat it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that big animal can't be a nice piece of something to eat. He's probably going to make better sausage.
Yeah.
And burger.
Because there'll be more of them.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be as tender.
But you want something good to eat.
No.
It's about dose.
Yep. It's absolutely.
And that's what I talk to these kids about too. I mean, if I shoot a buck, it's okay. It's no big deal. I'd rather shoot does.
Yeah.
And I tell that to the kids too. It's like, and when I see a nice buck walking around on our property, I look at that deer and I go, I hope a kid can take him.
Yeah.
It's
a good way to look at it. Yeah, because you don't care about the trophy aspect of it.
Do you eat the bull or do you eat the heifer?
Yeah. Nope. Absolutely.
And
same thing with roosters and chickens.
No,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But and I also, I really feel it's important that God put these creatures on this earth for us to make use of.
Yeah.
It's our job to be responsible. And I like to try to make use of as much of that animal as I can.
Yep.
When I dress a pheasant, I keep the legs. I keep the gizzard and I keep the heart. I have a lot of hunting friends that think I am just from Mars.
What are you doing with the legs?
Well, first of all, there's a way, if you can legally do this, you can break the leg just above the spur.
Okay.
You step on the foot and you pull it, and it pulls most of the tendons right out of the leg.
Okay.
Now, you can't do that in a lot of cases because you got to keep the spur.
Sure.
You got to keep the full leg on it.
Yeah.
But last year, I got a bunch of legs from a game farm that they did a shoot there. And I just collected some, took them home, dressed them like I just described, and then I fried them and I put them in Alfredo sauce, and I fed them to my nephew when he was coming down to deer hunt with me, and he thought it was the best pheasant he ever ate.
Okay.
The thigh doesn't have the tendons in it. The leg can have some tendons even with that procedure.
So you're ripping them out from
You're
the
ripping
bottom.
most of the tendons out. And but yeah, so you got to chew around it a little bit. It's kind of like eating a squirrel. There's not a lot of meat. There's some bone on there, and you got to eat around the bone.
Yeah.
When it's cooked right, it comes right off.
I still squirrel was the first thing I ever hunted.
Uh-huh.
And it was a weird story. I got well, I won't get into it, but I have a special affinity for squirrel hunting because I did not realize that city squirrels and country squirrels are not even the same. Like that squirrel knows what you're in the woods trying to do, and it's trying to survive,
Right.
and it will do everything in its power to get away from you. And two, it was the first thing I ever ate that I shot. But hold on, was it Patrick? What are we at for time?
You're right at an hour.
Okay. I figured we were getting to it. We do have to wrap up shortly, but let's talk about. You're going up to Canada here in what, like a week, 2 weeks?
In next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
How you getting up there?
I'm riding my motorcycle.
So it's what, 8 hours to 7 and 8, 9 hours to Minneapolis?
It's 8 hours to Minneapolis.
Okay.
It's a 15-hour trip up to the Rock where they'll pick me up.
Okay.
On the boat launch. And
all on your motorcycle?
All on my motorcycle.
How are you, what are you bringing with you?
I camp in the lower 48.
Okay.
And I just find, small little places to camp. And in Canada, if I were to stay someplace, I'd probably stay at a campground or something more official.
Okay.
Last summer, I drove my motorcycle to Alaska and back, and I camped about half the time. So, took 2 weeks.
I mean, you get to see some beautiful stuff, and I imagine
amazing.
Going through like Wyoming, Montana on a motorcycle is a almost
Banff.
Spiritual experience. Yeah, Banff.
Yeah, I spent 2 days in Yellowstone.
Okay.
And when you're doing a trip like this, and I did it by myself, and my planning was I need to be in Anchorage on Friday.
And that's all you cared
about. And that's all
That's all. Everything else was just drive as far as you feel, and then stop.
And I want to stop and get something. Fine. I did some research and talked to some people who had done the trip, so I knew that gas stations were going to be available, and camping and motels and lodge and cabins would be available. If I didn't have one in one little town, well, I'd drive another 100 kilometers and go to another. But I had no problems. It was an amazing experience. My wife called it an epic journey.
Yeah,
so
I would agree.
I took 2 weeks to get there, 2 weeks to get back, and I went salmon fishing for 2 weeks. And the big question was, is the wife going to let me in the house when I get home?
It had been a while. Was she going to recognize you? Would she know who you were?
She did, and she said, 6 weeks might be a little long, maybe 2 or 3. And I'm like, I'm in. Now I know.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
But it's something you got to do. I mean, that must have been absolutely amazing.
It was. And I really enjoyed this motorcycle. I have a Gold Wing. It's an amazing machine. This will be my 3rd trip to Canada this year.
Okay.
So
wait, 3rd trip on the motorcycle?
On the motorcycle.
So you're just addicted to riding that motorcycle all across the United States.
I rode it here today.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's excellent. Dan, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting us try some of these awesome wild games and the stories behind them. That was my first taste of moose, and I am an enormous fan. That was phenomenal. And I'm going to take you up on teaching us how to do that mix, because I really think the cream cheese with this mixed in could be phenomenal.
It's amazing, and people will love it.
I might go buy some bagels, because I feel like that would be great on a bagel.
I like a cracker.
A cracker?
I like a cracker.
Okay.
And
I'll go with your expertise.
Yeah, I didn't bring crackers for you, so.
I'll go with your expertise. Yeah. All right, I appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, you bet.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltons.com. To get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.